Hello, all you amazing intuitive people, healers, empaths, and so forth. So, the topic for today is all about relationships, and I just want to emphasize how important your relationships are because your relationship with one difficult person can color your future relationships and even your present relationships because of the way we tend to protect ourselves because of the pain or the hurt we may have felt in that relationship. So today what I'm going to cover is how trauma can affect your body, and this is just one of the many ways. I have spoken about your cords, contracts, agreements, and your karma and the way we exchange energy, just like me talking to you right now through this camera. I am giving you my energy. And when you then speak back to me, if we were in a conversation, let's say in a Zoom call, you are giving me your energy, right? So let me cover more about trauma, so stay tuned to hear more. This is Anastasia. I used to be a physics professor specializing in vibrational and quantum physics. After recovering from a serious illness using energy healing on myself, the calling to heal became so strong that I had to quit my 40-year research career. I replaced my 6-figure professor salary within 5 months using a simple but not easy 3-step system that I worked out to grow my healing practice. Now I help other healers grow their practices, whether they're just starting or already have a practice, with this same 3-step system. I'm all about helping you too. Listen in to learn more. I'm so glad you're here today to talk about this really important topic on how trauma can color all of your relationships. And so first, let's define trauma. Trauma is some way that you have been harmed, your energy body has been harmed. It could come across in your emotions. You may have been yelled at, you may have been mistreated, you may have been hurt physically, like corporal punishment. A teacher may have spanked you. This is the old days, like when I was in grammar school, it was still allowed to be wrapped across the wrists and so on. Your boss may have yelled at you unfairly. Your parents may have. When I was little, my mom used to spank us across the rear end with her wooden spoon, right? Not really fun. Like, how could you do that to a little child? But anyway, that was the old Greek way. And anywhere that you have been hurt in that way, that trauma, because we are not designed to sustain that, even though history has shown humans to be violent to one another. And also they've let out their emotions on one another. So anywhere you are, spiritual damage, emotional damage, mental damage, physical damage, relational damage, all of those places register as trauma on the body. So what does it do? It darkens that area. It's like the energy or the light goes off in that area. And in order for you to be healthy and happy and fulfilled and even be able to support yourself really well and to have great relationships with other people, to have great relationships with other people, it means that clearing out that old darkness will really move you forward in having great relationships with these people. So the first step is to come back into your body. So what happens when an area gets dark is that your spirit wants to remove itself from your body. And a lot of people that are experiencing some form, somewhere being on the spectrum, whether it's full-blown autism or Asperger's or something like that, their spirit has pulled themselves up out of their body. It happens when you've been injured badly in a car accident. That registers as trauma, right? So the spirit wants to leave the body. So it's really important to get centered again, right? And I've gone through that exercise a few times, is getting centered and pulling yourself back down in your body. That's the first step, because the spirit actually energizes you in the body physically. So one way to do this, of course, is to either sit or stand with your feet shoulder width apart, about 10 inches, 12 inches, depending on your shoulders, and pull your shoulders back. This tells your body you're safe. It lowers your stress levels, and it puts you into a healing state a lot more quickly. And take some deep breaths. And when you breathe deeply, breathe down into your belly button. So what I mean by that is when you pull in air, you're going to expand your belly button forward, right? And what that does is it activates the diaphragm, pulls the air in, and it crosses through your heart area down into your lower body. So it helps balance you top to bottom, right? It feels so good to do that too, right? And instead of a grounding cord, you can imagine that instead you've got a big culvert or a big 10-inch diameter tube, and you want to pull the darkness out of you instead of just letting it drain out. So you can imagine that there's a vortex of air, like a hurricane, in there, pulling out that dark energy and dropping it down deep into the earth and letting it go. We want to light up all the parts of the body that have been darkened by the trauma. And that is in your energy body, in your physical body, in your mental body, and in your emotional body. All those places are holding that dark energy. And whether you realize it or not, other people see it. They see it. They feel it. They don't know what they're looking at. You know, some of them will look at you like you're damaged goods, or will not understand what's going on, like why you're closing yourself off to them. And you don't really mean to. I used to. People thought I had a big wall in front of me, like I'm not showing my true self. And I couldn't understand what they meant, but had gone through so many years of basically verbal abuse and even some physical abuse. As I mentioned, my mom used to spank me with a wooden spoon. That was before I was 8 years old. It stopped after that. I managed to figure out what I needed to do to avoid that. Although at one time when I was about 16, she got so mad at me, she tried to grab my hair and pull it, and I just held her because I was a lot stronger at that point. I just held her in place and said, "No, you can't do that to me." Right? But you know, the old style parenting was like that, and even that was harmful. And when she did that to me, I actually emotionally, purposefully shut down. And I didn't know what harm that would do to me, my relationships, and my future, right? Because I wanted to be married. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to be in a close relationship. I wanted to be accepted and loved as me, and not as something that they thought they were looking at, but as the real me. But I couldn't do that because of the trauma that was stored in my body. So that's the first step, is coming back down into your body, making sure that you are fully embodied. And the next step is lighting up all the dark places. And then the last thing I want to mention in today's broadcast is all about how the person that did the most trauma to you, or person or persons, usually they're very close, right? The person or persons that did that trauma to you, you're always thinking about them in some way, because all they need to do is say 2 words. It throws you back into where you were when you were hurt the most, And it's like what I call PTSD. PTSD is like you've got this bungee cord that's holding you. Here's your past, and here's you right now. And as soon as you think of them, it pulls you right back, right? The elastic just pulls you right back to that moment where you were hurt. And when you keep getting pulled back into that, this PTSD style thinking, right? It pulls you back into the moment it happened. It's just like war veterans that they hear a loud noise and they're immediately pulled back into gunfire. And it's as if they're experiencing it right then and there. And you keep experiencing that stress, that trauma over and over and over, and it cements itself in your body. And in order to move forward, it needs to be released. And one of the ways you stay connected is every time you think of that person, you allow them to cord to you and draw off your energy. Right? So every time you think of them, rather than letting them cord to you, whenever you think of them, is to release that thought. Cut the cord, release that thought, and let it go down deep into the earth and let it move away. So I talked about 3 things today. I talked about releasing the trauma, because the trauma in your body shows up as dark energy and you want to light it up again. So the first thing to do is to light it up, then get yourself re-embodied back into your body. And one of the ways to do that is, as I mentioned, is pull your shoulders back and get straight and breathe down into your belly button so you'll get recentered and re-embodied. And the last is to pull all of the cords, cut the cords every time you think of that person, because we want to create magical relationships rather than live our life as if the ongoing trauma is still happening to you. So I hope that was helpful today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for taking valuable time out of your day to listen in. If you found this message helpful, please help spread the word by giving the broadcast a thumbs up or a 5-star rating. Share it with your friends and be sure to subscribe to my channel with your notifications on. For further training on healing and growing your healing business using my 3-step system, go to www.highpaidhealers.com. And I'll see you in the next video.